ultimately, I'd like to have been back in my dad's day, you know, to work with Harrow Grace and stuff like that. Because those are the good days. I mean, shit, those days are long gone. But Hunter, I've worked with 1 billion times. I beat him fucking 50 million times before he became Triple H. I beat Steve Austin before he became Stunning Steve Austin. I was United States champion. I beat Rick Rude. I beat them all. When my dad was a booker, but who cares? I beat them all anyways. I did it. But I could do it. I was the natural at Dustin Rhodes.
Would you like to induct your father into the WWE Hall of Fame?
Definitely.
Okay. Whose idea was it to program you with Rob Van Dam?
Well, I would imagine that was Vince's. I mean, because that was my first feud was with Rob Van Dam, and Rob Van Dam's over. Crazy, good. Goldust coming back in, fresh, new. It was cool and made for a good, exciting setting, you know. And I worked with him that one time, the one pay-per-view, and it went well, and that was that, you know. He was the IC champion, I believe, at that time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you feel that your styles clashed with him?
With who?
Rob?
Our styles?
Yeah.
Well, he has a completely different style, but he also has the old school knowledge. You know, he is able to do a lot more mobily, you know, doing the flips and the things like that than I am. You know, that I can. I can't move like that. You know, and a lot of guys are gifted with that, and he's gifted with that, and he's unbelievable. He can do some tremendous stuff off the top ropes, and it's like a lot of the young guys, you know, they're coming up now in the TNA, you know, like AJ Styles and Daniels, Christopher Daniels. I mean, they can do 3 flips and land on their head and still get up. But one of these days it's going to take a toll on their body, like Mick Foley. You know, after years and years of being pounded and pounded and thrown off of cages, it's going to take a toll on his body. This is my 18th year this month. And it's taking a toll on my body, and I ain't done near the stuff that Mick's done. But falling down on your back 300 days a year, man, and traveling and this and that, it takes a toll and it beats the shit out of you.
Thoughts on your run with the hardcore title?
The hardcore title was a really short run, you know, and then we went to the WrestleMania in Toronto, was it? Was it Toronto?
Yeah, I think so.
When Maven took the hardcore title from me, but there was like 2 or 3 involved. And then I beat him back in the dressing room on the stretching table, on the doctor's table, again to retain my title. The hardcore title was, you know, it was just one of those things that kind of like the ECW deal. Just, you know, I don't think they should have put a hardcore title or anything like that at the beginning of a show like that. I think you should build a pay-per-view from the start to the finish like this. The opening match, you know, should wrestle, do these things. Second match, same thing, and you build up to that, to the crescendo, to the main event, which is what everybody wants to see, or the 2 main events, the semi-main event and the main event, and which is what they want to see, and then they get to see it all. You know, when they see trash cans flying, and when they ring the bell, the bells flying and chairs flying, the first match, it kind of takes away from everything else. You know, it kind of takes away from the show, even though the main eventers and the semi can follow it because of the talent they have. It just takes away from it. That's not the way I was raised, you know, old school ways. You know, if you're a curtain jerker, not meaning in a bad way, but that you open the show, you open it for the next guy, and then the next guy, then the next guy, and you build to the main event.
Was it any different this time around for you with scripted promos and stuff like that? Was it different, or did you still...
No, not really. I enjoyed it a lot more this time with Booker because we had some fun, man. I mean, we had some funny scripts, and we usually did them in 1 or 2 takes, you know. And like Brian, like was one of the writers there, he was behind most of our stuff that we did, you know, from the Crocodile Hunter skits to all the skits that we did, you know, to the Scorpion King skit, the first one, all the ones with Booker T in the bed with the girl, and I mean all of them. I mean, he did some good writing. We ad-libbed to some of those things, and just our chemistry just it clicked. And, you know, I look at Booker, you know, he looks at me and you see it on camera. It's like, huh. And the stuff we say back and forth to each other, you had to laugh because it was funny. And you tuned in next week to see, okay, there's Goldust. Booker's neck, he goes by. Oh, goddamn, we got to watch this. It's right here. It's going to be a funny segment.
Whose idea do you think it was to team you and Booker T up? Vince's, or that there was a plan behind it?
It was Vince's idea, probably, I guess. Or it could have been the writers, I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know. But the one time they hooked us up, it worked. So they had to push it, you know. Couldn't just let it, they couldn't just throw it in the trash bin.
How friendly were you with Booker before?
Very friendly. We've been friends a long time, yes.
What did you think of ECW's One Night Stand?
I didn't even see it, didn't give a fuck.
Would a WCW One Night Stand work?
No, I don't give a fuck about that either.
Why did your tenure in TNA come to an end?
Why did what?
Why did your time in TNA come to an end?
It hasn't.
Okay.
Dixie Carter, after this thing here until I got cleared, which being not guilty, has just gave me a absence of leave. So I've called, left messages, and hopefully I'll be back on TNA real soon.
What do you think of Ric Flair still wrestling regularly? Do you think it's time for him to step aside?
Nah. As long as he can do it, man, everybody loves Ric Flair.
Why we? Oh, sorry, Dustin.
You go through any arena and he steps in the ring and everybody's woo and doing that shit. Everybody loves Ric Flair.
Why were you able to make it where someone like a David Flair or a David Sammartino didn't?
Right now, I think that put an organization together, or even a TNA or whatever, put David Flair in there and put him under my direction and let me help him. I think David Flair will be a great wrestler if he listens.
Do you want to write a book someday?
I'm writing one right now. It's a different book than you'll be used to, though.
Do you think that the WWE is pushing more of the guys with the physiques?
Yes.
And they shouldn't be? Could you have cut it in Tough Enough?
Probably not. But I did pay my dues, man. I paid my dues in 1988, 89, and 90. Paying your dues, making $20 a night, driving from town to town, barely having gas money, and getting the shit kicked out of you, wrestling or learning the ropes. That's paying your dues. You know, Tough Enough, that's just where they make the spectacle of them beating the shit out of you and you making it like some Marine Corps type deal, you know. You know, fuck that. That's good for these guys these days. That's what it takes. Paying your dues like we did, it's a little different. Paying your dues that way, still, you know, that's good for them. They need to pay their dues. They need to get the shit kicked out of them stretched.
Did you ever feel pressure to take steroids?
No. I took steroids one time, a long time ago, like 1990, and I just drank beer. I took steroids and drank beer, and I just got fat as hell and mean. I just got mean, man. The Anadrol 50s, they fucking made me mean as hell. I mean, I honk at somebody, I'll pull over and get them out of the car. Get the fuck out of the car. Just yelling, you know. So that's, you know, I didn't take steroids. I don't lift weights very much. Yeah, I do some dumbbells and the treadmill. That's all I do, you know. Or what's that standing?
Stairmaster?
No, not Stairmaster. The elliptical, or it goes back and forth and up and.
The Gazelle thing? No.
Not the Gazelle, but it's like that.
Yeah.
That's all I did with those.
Are you prepared for life after wrestling?
Right now I'm not, no. I don't know what the fuck I'd do without wrestling. That's what I'm trying to figure out. You know, I got a choice right now to go open up a school and run some shows, sell some shows.
Is there anyone you didn't get a chance to work with that you wish you had?
I worked with Rick. I worked with Sean. I would like to have worked with Bret Hart a little more when he was a world champion, and maybe done a little angle with him, you know.
Any thoughts on The Undertaker?
Undertaker is Vince's man. I mean, Undertaker and me, we've had some tremendous matches together, and I think I'm the only person who has ever beat him actually in a casket match. Actually, really, truly, the only person to beat him in a casket match, thanks to Mankind helping me. But Undertaker's a great guy. He's got a good business sense, business knowledge, his creative abilities. He watches the talent that comes in and out of the ring. And one night, this was right before Brock was just getting to be pushed, you know, to the top. Me and Undertaker standing there at the curtain, and we're watching Brock, and was working with Big Show. And Undertaker looked at me and said, "You think he's ready?" I said, "Yeah, I do, man, because he's caught on to it really fast. And he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he is ready." Because I'm good friends with Brock. And Undertaker said, "Yeah, you know what? I think he's ready too." You know, it's just little things like that.
Did your father give you any advice being in the business? Anything to?
Like when?
I guess when you got into business, did he send you down a certain road, said do this, don't do this, or any advice? Just to help maybe steer your career in the right way.
Advice comes from different fathers. I don't really recall any fatherly advice from Dad about what not to do, except for stay away from drugs and stay away from all the the bullshit and the politics and stuff like that. But stay away from drugs mostly because Dad really believed strongly in no drug atmosphere, and I was grown up living in his house, not doing drugs and believing that if I did smoke a joint or if I did do something like that, I'd get my ass kicked. So I didn't do drugs.
How involved with your father were you in Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling?
Well, he made me for the company he made me the second-hand man, and we ran our seminars and trained a few people and had a few shows, and did some business. But for the independent companies out there, a lot of them struggle and a lot of them fail, and without big backers, without big money, behind them, I mean, you're going to fail. You're not going to. I mean, you need money to make money, and that's something that Turnbuckle didn't have.
What were your career plans at that time when you were involved in that? What were you thinking?
Well, let's see, what year was that? That was the first time after I left WWE, WWF. I was with Dad, wanting to make his company, our company, as big as it could be, and do what we could, But like I said, independent companies, they struggle, and there's so many of them out there, and everybody wants to be a wrestler. Everybody. I mean, they'll line up around the streets just to try out, just to train to become a professional wrestler, because it's just what everyone wants to do. And then you see the packed arenas, the WWF, WWE, and you see them all, and they're all, and you spotlight a few of them in the crowd, and you put a magnifying glass on them, and they got the gleam in their eyes. They want to be a professional wrestler. It's like the Tough Enough deal, how they were lined up around the block, to be one of those top 5 or 10 or whatever it was, to make it to the Tough Enough thing.
How were you contacted about returning to the WWE?
It was a Royal Rumble, and they just contacted me, said, "We want you to be a participant in the Royal Rumble. Are you in shape?" I said, "Yeah." And they brought me in that way, and then after that day, the next day was TV shooting for Raw, and me and Jim Ross sat down for contractual talks and came to an agreement and went from there.
Was it hard to mentally adjust to coming from the top of the world to crashing back down again? Because you were up there, you made it back, and then it was over again.
Crashing down in what sense?
Well,
just getting let go by the WWE.
Yeah, you climbed your way. You were down here, and you climbed your way all the way back up, and then shit, here we are again.
I don't have anything bad to say about that. It's just, I had 2 good runs with Vince, and I filled my own shoes as Goldust instead of trying to fill my dad's shoes as Dusty Rhodes' son. And now, me and Dad are doing a lot of tours together now, I'm more than happy, you know, and I'm happy, you know, we've got our lives back together, me and Dad. And I know my job now when we go in the ring together, and it's fun as hell because it's little spot shows. Okay, Dad, don't worry, I got this. I get in the ring, I get beat up. He comes in, I give him the tag, he drops his elbows, boom, 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 1, 2, 3, we get paid, we go home. That's the funnest thing for me right now.
Was there ever a point that you were thinking about retiring? Or are you thinking about retiring? That's really not part of the equation right now for you.
Well, no, I look at like the TNA stars right now, AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels, you know, the young flyers, man, and one of the what made me really think something along those lines was one of the last pay-per-views I was at, not the last one before I got thrown in jail, April 24th. It was a pay-per-view before that, and they had an X Division match. AJ grabbed up on that that red rope, man, and he like did some kind of backflip, and it was like a double backflip, and we landed on his neck, and I was like, we're on the back going, damn, he broke his neck, you know, and he got right up, and I'm like, wow, you know, and I get up on the second rope now, or I can get up on the second rope, or the third rope. My last pay-per-view, and I bulldogged Bobby Roode off the third, you know, rope, which I hadn't done in a long, long time, which is a long ways. It takes a toll on your body, but getting up on the second rope, now my knees are shaking, you know, unless it's a superplex or something easy, you know. And doing the flips and all that stuff, like Brock when he did the gainer in Seattle at the WrestleMania and landed on his neck and barely made it, barely skidded through. He did that, what was it, Mark Merrill?
Yeah, he did the moonsault, right?
No, he went.
He had the 454.
Shooting star?
Yeah, shooting star. So shooting star press.
And his neck went and just barely made it, you know. And we were all up in the box going, oh. See, I can't do that stuff, you know. And I just rely on my old school abilities and how I can work, because I know I'm one of the best workers in the world. And psychologically, I work just a ton of them. I'm one of the top 10 best. And I know I am, and I can work circles around green some bitches. I can't do flips like them, but I can work around them.
Do you think that if JR was in Johnny Ace position at the time, you would have been able to keep your job?
No.
Do you think you could fit into the current WWE product today?
Yeah.
Would you like to, I guess, I mean, you would like to go back to the WWE?
Sure.
Yeah.
One more time, yeah. One more good run. If done right, I mean, shit.
Do you have to work, or are you financially set?
I have to work right now. I'm trying to find different jobs, what I can do, but I mean, what's my resume? WWF, you know. I mean, I've applied for different jobs for laying cable and things like that, you know, for high cable, like what's it called? Fiber optics cable and stuff like that for big buildings, computer connections and stuff. You gotta get, you know, you have to be trained for it a little bit, but my brother-in-law does that and he can help me with that. But I'm not gonna go to fucking McDonald's, to the goddamn Golden Arches, and make $5 an hour. That's not gonna pay my bills. Fuck Ronald McDonald. I mean, fuck fast food, you know. I'm gonna do something else that I like, you know. I can make $11 cutting grass somewhere, you know, or something. But all I know is wrestling, you know, and that's all I really want to do.
You know, you've been up and down many roads and different people. Is there a particular road story that, you know, you could share? Like, you know, good time on the road or bad time on the road? You know, something, just a road story that, you know, you traveled so many people, so many different highways. Is there anything that you could just,
well,
you know?
There's so many, you know, to pinpoint one, you know, I've had a lot of good road stories with Barry Windham, which, you know, he's like closer than a brother to me, you know, we've known each other forever. And then Dad, to be actually in the ring with Dad, that first time I was in the ring with Dad, the Royal Rumble, was awesome, you know. And then to be in the ring with him now, it's just, it's fun, you know. And we sit and we drive and we talk stories and things like that. And to wrestle with Barry, you know, and being at WCW when he was there, when they were doing the Texas, when they were doing the Rednecks.
Texas Rednecks, yeah.
when they were doing the redneck gimmick, I came in, and just traveling down the road with them and stuff like that, and just raising hell and having fun, but being safe, or being with my dad. Like this last couple tours, the last couple shows I did with Dad, my brother Cody was there, and that's the first time Cody had been on the road with me and Dad. So he had both of his sons there, and it was a big thing for me, that my brother was there too. So maybe the first night I got laid out with a chair, and Cody would come to my rescue, my brother at 19 years old. And then Dad would come back out, and all of us would be standing there. I'm bloody, Dad's bloody, and Cody's right there holding their hands up, 2-time state champion right out of high school, and he's living in California, wanting to be an actor. He didn't want to be a wrestler, but he does, because I see it in him, And he's like, I don't want to do this, but he comes right out there and he's holding up our arms, and we get good snapshots from everybody, and I make sure I turn Dad around. Get your fat ass around, Dad. Damn it. Turn around here. You got your boys here. Let's get the pictures. You got Pro Illustrated, Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Everybody there taking snapshots, man. I mean, it's the first time with Dad and his 2 sons. It was very special for me. And Dad, I don't think it was as special for him because he was so tired and overrun with whatever, I don't know, but man, he had his 2 boys, and 500 people there. It's not a lot of people, but 500 people, and me, him, and Cody in the ring together. It was awesome. It was fun for me, and I can't wait to do it again, with Cody. I hope to break Cody in, because I know it's really what he wants to do.
Was Triple H any different when you went back that second, when you went back that time? Or was he the same?
I saw a little bit less of Triple H, but every time I saw him, he was always very kind and cordial to me and stuff like that. But Triple H is Triple H, He paid his dues and he paid his way, and however he did it, whether it was kissing ass or whether it was playing politics, he made it, and he made it to the top. That's all you can say about it. And he's a good worker too.
Was his influence in the company more noticeable when you were
at that time?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because and right before that time, they were really pushing the crap out of him. So, but they had no choice. He's a hell of a worker. He's a hell of a hand, and even though he might be playing politics and dating Stephanie and stuff like that, it didn't matter. I mean, he had the talent, and he did a good job of what he had. I just a lot of guys don't play politics. A lot of guys don't do that and kiss ass. I'm not one of those guys, and that could have been my downfall and might not have been. But I'm one of those nice heart and soul guys that just can get along in the business with what I can do with my talent. I consider myself one of the top 10 in the business, the best in the business, as far as going out there psychologically and getting in the ring and telling a story and making a match and making those people go from here to standing up and cheering and crying or crying, And Triple H, he's Triple H,
Do you think that Hunter puts himself over too much at the benefit of the company?
Explain that a little bit.
Well, sometimes Hunter puts himself over as the champ and doesn't look around at the big picture maybe, and the other guys maybe are sacrificing because of that.
Well, you got to look at all the guys that Hunter has to deal with. Most of them are green. Most of them aren't ready. So if you're the world champ like Hunter and the worker that he is, you got to say that. That just gives more boost and ammo for the young guys to get up and say, hey, we need to make our mark. We need to do this. We need to get to where he needs us to be.
Do you think that Hunter, basically like your dad back in the day, gets too much blame for any problems that the company has?
Okay, well let's break that down into two. my dad got the blame for what?
Yeah, your dad. Well, when your dad was back in the day when he was,
When he was the booker for.
not even the booker, when he was, when he was the big dog there.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and then. And he was the booker or whatever. He pushed himself. He used to get a lot of blame that he was the downfall of the company when other people around were.
But you got to also realize too that back in the day, Dusty Rhodes, being as big as he was, and pushing himself, he still had all the other guys that he pushed too. Even though he's out there doing his elbows and drawing the crowds and things like that, he still had help from everybody else. He didn't put too much into him. He just was being him, and what the people wanted to see. And Hunter, I think it's the same way. Hunter is a top draw, and Hunter with Shawn Michaels, whether it be with Kevin Nash, whether it be with anybody that he had feuds with and things like that. Yeah, you can push that, but you also, just business-wise, who is right down there, right beneath you. Just on your heels, that you got to push to, and that you got to lead, and you don't overlook him. He hasn't overlooked him.
How did Kevin Nash change in the WWE as compared to WCW, if at all?
Well, I've known Kevin, and Kevin's been Kevin since WCW or WWE. The way he's been to me has always been a good guy, and we've always talked cordially to each other. Not necessarily friends, but acquaintances. And he's a good guy. I really like him a lot.
Any memories of your matches with X-Pac?
Oh, well, there's been 6-man tag matches with X-Pac, and very few single matches with X-Pac. But every time I've been in the ring with him, he's always been there. And when he's ready to work, when it's time to work, he's there, and he does his best, and he's very good at what he does.
How hard was it to battle staying clean on the road?
Staying clean? What do you mean?
Just staying clean, staying away from any kind of drugs or drinking. Is it?
Well, drugs.
Is it tough to stay? Is it tough with all the devices out there?
You can tell my body. I've never done steroids, and drugs. I never did drugs at that time, and the only drugs that I did were prescription drugs for my back and my knees and elbows and neck and stuff like that. And alcohol. From day one in the wrestling business, it's always been kind of like a deal when after your match you go have a couple beers with the guys and stuff. So that's as far as it went with me.
Okay. Any memories of the Raw match in which Kevin Nash tore his quad?
Yeah, I was right there. I was outside the ring and I saw it. Boom! He fell right down in front of me, man. And I jumped right down and said, "Okay," and I could see that he was in pain in his leg. You could tell, that he had messed up his leg pretty bad. And it's unfortunate for tall guys like that sometimes, just like Sid, say for instance, coming off the top rope or the second rope or whatever and just snapping his leg in half. When you're tall-legged like that and your adrenaline's going, you don't really realize it. But when you see it on TV and it happens, it just goes, it grosses you out. These big guys that are so strong and powerful and muscular, that something could happen to them like that, and the leg just flipped over, and Kevin Nash's quad just boom, you saw it buckle, and he laid right there, and I said, okay, and we're calling for the medics to come out, it sucks for any of the boys to get hurt. I hate that,
Do you think Kevin is still or can still be a draw today?
Oh yes, definitely. Kevin's a big draw. It's a big draw if he's pushed the right way right now, in any company around the world, yes, definitely. If he came back to WWE tomorrow and was pushed the right way, yes, big draw.
Okay, the next one's going to be a mouthful, so bear with me there, Dustin. Speaking of Kevin, he said a few months back about your father, we're doing Raw Wrestling and we're on Fox Sports Net. We're in the 27th largest metropolitan area, and that's it. We should be doing urban wrestling. We're doing rural. Dusty sits in the back of a pickup truck with hay bales. Hey Dusty, quick clue. A little something from me to you. Become Fat Joe. Have a couple of black babies and be in an Escalade. Then we'll do a number of high ratings. What the fuck's going on? I'm 46 years old and I'm the hippest guy in the room. What the fuck is that? Any thoughts on any of that whole?
Well, who wrote that? Did that come out of his mouth for sure?
Well, supposedly he
It was actually a printed interview from one.
Okay, well,
with the
Kevin
torch.
Nash, you know, he had a big, they built up a big deal for him and Jeff Jarrett, you know, in the press conference deal for the world title. And, you know, I love Kevin. He's a good guy. And Kevin has a unique sense. He sees a lot, too. He's very, very creative, too, you know. And not everybody agrees with my dad on his creative abilities or anybody else's. You know, everybody has their own creative abilities. And if he said something like that, then he saw something different that might have worked or whatever, you know. And you just got to go with it. I don't think bad about that, you know. You know, and I've studied Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, the whole day before the show, and I watched him anyways all the time because I love the crocodile hunting. But I watched him, and I was looking at my script, all the things I had to say, and I'm trying to talk like Steve Irwin, trying to get that Australian accent down, and did very well. And then we got to the shoot, you know, where the Big Show was laying on the couch and X-Pac was in the shower, and I was saying, "Oh my God, it's the Big Show Hippopotamus. We do not want to wake him. He is very, very angry, you know." And then X-Pac goes, "What's going on?" "Oh my God, it's a wiry-headed grease rat," you know. And then things take on from there, and they chase us down the hall. He chases me, and we run into a room, and I duck and roll. And as soon as X-Pac runs in there, he gets his head kicked off by Booker T. So it took like 5 takes. As Shane McMahon wanted 5 takes, but they were good, all of them. And bless X-Pac's heart, he kept getting kicked in the face each time. He had that new sidekick from Booker. Says, you have any?
No, was there anything like they said, you know, Goldust, do this, and you were like, you know, that's pushing the envelope a little far, or was there anything you wanted to do to push that envelope, and they said, you know, maybe not?
Well, at the beginning, you know, Vince gave me Goldust, and he gave me the range, you know, and the envelope was wide the fuck open. I mean, we went with it, and that's when you had the click there, you know, and the click was politics, and they were bringing down everybody that wasn't part of the click. But I wasn't part of the click, but Vince was pushing me, so I had no worries. And I could see it happening to certain people, but Vince still was going with me until I got Goldust over. And I owe a big part of that to Savio Vega, you know, getting Goldust over as the #1 hated heel, you know. And then, you know, Scott Hall, I love Scott Hall. He didn't want to do his stuff with me for certain reasons, and you know, we had conversations and talks, and then we came to an agreement. We were fine after that.